Welcome to this week's Substrate Sync. I think, Ben, you've got the first item now.
Yeah, unfortunately, the first item was one that I was hoping to get Neil's opinion on in particular, but it looks like he's not here today. But I wanted his opinion in particular because I think it's just Pixie-related stuff, which is that I was trying to go through and finish some of the Dependabot upgrades, to automatically upgrade our dependencies, and some of them work, but some of them have issues, and I think the issue has to do with the fact that Dependabot will try to upgrade a dependency, but it doesn't upgrade the associated Pixie lock files. So there's some extra step that needs to happen to make those upgrades work automatically. I tried to mess around a little bit locally to see if I could get an easy fix, but it wasn't totally obvious to me. So, but I'll just message Niels directly about it because maybe he has an opinion there.
Yeah, I imagine there's some way to add like a post-processing hook to it to like make it regenerate the log file, but that
is also what I thought would be the case if it were easy, but I could not find that easy fix. So
understood. Cool. We can bring that up in Slack.
Yeah.
You're also the second item, Ben.
This one is I have a PR open, which I would like to merge, but before merging it, I wanted to ask for some opinions, which is that the PR is technically a breaking change of the test format, not of the spec itself. And so my question is, does that count as a breaking change or not?
I guess if it counts as a breaking change, we need to, what would be the difference?
Just whether or not I mark it as a breaking change.
Oh. Okay.
And whether or not it does a bump.
I think I have a suggestion here, which is that the Substrate core repos breaking changes should be limited to things that change the spec's behavior and or the formats. Any tooling related to it, I think, as much as people may need to deal with the fact that, like, hey, if they built their own test cases downstream and need to fix those things, I'm inclined towards not treating tooling as a breaking change, right? Like, for example, if like we switch to a different protobuf compiler and it, had a different invocation pattern, I don't think I would consider that a breaking change or something. I don't know if that's a good comparison. It's not quite. That'd be my thought, but I don't think we've ever formalized it.
That's fine with me. I imagine there's going to be a lot of test format changes in the coming months because we're trying to use them more. And I would rather not have everyone be a breaking change, especially considering that I think they're used much less generally than Substrate itself. So we'd be forcing everyone else to deal with breaking changes that aren't really breaking for them.
I mean, you lost your sound.
If the test
is, hear him?
I can hear Ben.
Test 1, 2, 3.
You.
It's my side then.
Okay. Continue, young gentleman.
Yeah. I mean, if test is something that we are going to basically share or say support, and I think there's some use case, for instance, like we could define like compliance test suite, let's say, and then make it as a part of repo, and we officially support, hey, this is the compliance test format. You may take a dependency. I mean, it's officially supported. In that way, I think if we do that, yes, it's a breaking change in the compliance test format, but not necessarily, I mean, yeah, inside of like a test and all these things, inside of Substrate core, I don't think that's
I feel like until it becomes load bearing somewhere in a way that people will yell at us if we break it, I think it's fine. I think right now, realistically, we at Datadog are the primary people who will be affected by this because we're writing a bunch more tests and we'll actually figure out how to upstream some stuff. But
so Datadog is actually using the Substrate core testing framework as a
not the framework, but the test format.
Yeah.
There's also like the framework in BFT that's like tricky to use. It can be that's separate. But yeah, we're writing tests for like internal functions, and as we do that, we discover limitations of the format or weird things that we're fixing. I guess, yeah, I guess the no strong opinions about breaking change. I'm okay with leaving, not making breaking, and maybe even suggesting that, yeah, to Jack's point, we focus on spec changes as breaking, and then everything else is just tooling.
Okay, I will go ahead and merge that one as a non-breaking change, and maybe I will open up another PR with the clarification on the breaking change policy, just saying we only consider spec changes, breaking changes, and everything else is not for now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
And yeah, I think I had a question for people. I think I asked in the Slack as well, but if folks are planning on attending BLDB this year, or if they know if their company's planning on sending people. It's in Boston this year, and I think I know Datadog's doing a data fusion meetup that week. So if folks were in town, we could potentially do a thing as well. But I guess does anyone know if they're not? I guess Yamcha, I know that you're not going, but I guess Jackson.
I love to go. I love to go.
I mean,
Well, I don't know. The East Coast in August, I think is when it is.
it's like it's the beginning of September, yeah.
Seems humid. Seems like you're gonna get stuck there with thunderstorms.
I guess
I
actually,
hate getting stuck on the East Coast because of thunderstorms and
This is
JFK.
crazy 4D chess that you're doing right now for thunderstorms in
It's like working,
September.
mate.
I guess Andrew, are any of the IBM folks planning on attending BLDB?
Almost certainly. I don't suppose I will be. I was in London last year, but that's because I live there.
Yeah, I think Ben lives in Boston, so he can attend for free, but I'm not trying to make travel plans. Actually, I guess some of the question, Josh, you attended or I guess you presented at the composable data management workshop like 3 years ago. How was that experience? Both attending and experience wise, is it like worth making the trek out?
It was a virtual. I was a virtual speaker, so I didn't.
Okay.
So it was worth walking to my desk. Yeah, it was totally worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to data council next week. That'll be interesting.
Okay.
I haven't been in like 5 years. It's much bigger than it was when I last went. Or maybe 7 years. It's been a long time. So.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is IBM folks potentially Youngshul, maybe if we organize an official PMC thing, you can use that as a business reason, but maybe
I think IBM are one of the sponsors.
Oh, okay. Cool. That makes sense.
No, Joel, how are you not going? I mean, come on, man. Like,
I mean, it must be like, I mean, in this org or the current company policy made me forced to expense out of my pocket.
Gotcha.
Do I want to do that? Like, if it is like in Redmond, like, yeah, maybe I can offer, I don't know, registration fee, but the whole package.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, Jackson's attending data cancel. Yeah, Ben. Does that ring a bell for you for something?
I just tried Googling data council and I didn't see it come up. So I thought maybe I
I
misspelled
think it's
or
called
something.
Data AI Council now, or it's called AI Council. They changed data to AI. It used to be called
I
Data
see now.
Council. Yeah,
Of course.
yeah,
Whatever trendy word, like.
exactly.
Crypto
Exactly.
council.
I didn't realize that they dropped the data. I didn't realize that. Oh, that's funny.
No one cares about that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the tracks I'm pretty sure is called like data engineering and databases. I mean, come on.
Like, what is an LLM but a database of just all human knowledge compressed into a vector? Anyways, Youngshul, post join filters.
Yes. So, yeah, this one I made some last edit after the but I mistakenly force pushed. So sorry, it lost the history. I made I'm like git noob. So I accidentally pull it, and then now I suddenly see like, oh yeah, you have like 200 comments in between. I was panning, I reversed, and then the force push was the only way that I can think of too. But yeah, so this is like close Jack and then Lady approved, but I made actually last thing that so this like post join filter, I made it clear that all the field references in the post join filter is over the direct output of the join. Because that's, I mean, because we already declared that, hey, this is equivalent to filter after join. So you can only see the at least like direct output. So, but it is not the emit because it's still inside of the join. So I made it clear that it can only reference the direct output of the join. So that was, I think, the last edit to that PR. So if you're still interested, please take a look. So yeah, and then the other one, the lateral join, the next one, is I updated according to this new ID based or anchor based outer reference thing. So that's in. So I updated the PR accordingly. So now it's ready for review. So that also take a look. And then along the way, I think in the previous one, the post join filter, Ben brought up the documentation issue that hash join, merge join, in both cases, we actually deprecated left keys and right keys field and have a comparison key. So, but the documentation is not updated accordingly. So that update I'll follow up in a separate PR.
I mean, if we deprecate those all, we could remove those keys potentially as well.
Yes, but I don't know whether it's been actually, yeah, it's been there quite a while, right? So yeah, but maybe we can consider.
To your point, we can document it, then we can deprecate separately. Don't need to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I definitely opened up the post filter rel, saw that both Jax and Ben looked at it. I looked at it initially, I was like, wait, I thought this was different. And I think I missed the entire discussion for why we're moving to the post join filter is explicitly after the post, except for that one special case, which actually I think the new language seems much clearer for sure.
Yeah.
Not have it be a special case.
I mean, to be clear, the FAQ is the one that misled some people. I wouldn't say like a lot of people, like some people. Because the FAQ alluded that, hey, this thing actually is a part of the join predicate. But
that was my understanding when I did it like 2 years ago. That's what I thought it was. But if it's different, I'm happy to simplify it. I don't think it's low. I suspect it's not load bearing for anyone.
Yeah.
And if it is, they can come tell us about it when we discover it.
Yeah. I mean, technically, Gleason is the only projects that is actually using it, but they forked. So, yeah.
I was also just going to say that the last time we spoke about it, I was pushing us to delete it unless it was used by the libraries. But I did find that in Substrate Go, at least, it is covered, which is why I stopped pushing that. I still think it's a reasonable thing to do, maybe, but it can be separate. But it's not a free deletion, is my point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just wait until all you guys start using it. Just wait.
Oh, the post join filter. I mean, it is useful to be able, or the residual is correct. It is useful to be able to filter directly on the join. Cool. I guess those are requests for PR reviews, and then the final item right now is Ben. Our function names globally unique across scalar, window, and aggregates within a single extension. I assume it's like the implicit.
Yes. So, I mean, Victor, you know.
Sorry, when you say something functions, I assume you mean function signature.
Yes, function signature. This is the thing that we spoke about a few hours ago, which is that if you just look at scalar functions, we agree that add : I8_I8, for example, has to be unique. We can't have two functions in the same URN namespace that have the same. I mean, that's a boring one. Let's say like length list or something. We can only have, one implementation for list. We can't have multiple ones because then the name doesn't become unique. But does that uniqueness constraint also apply across the different function types? So for example, like a window function and an aggregate function and a scalar function, if they were all called add : I8, is that allowed?
I'm trying
The
to remember
reason
the
this came up-
expression shape.
The reason this came up is because in a plan, I think at the extension declaration level, without looking at the contents of the plan, there is no way to differentiate because the plan's reference to the function is just by its name, add:(i8). So if you had a window function and an aggregate function and a scalar function with that same name, then I think it's ambiguous which one you are referring to, unless we require uniqueness.
All three types of functions have distinct, so like scalar and window functions can show up in the same context, right?
Mhm.
But not exactly, because they both show up in a scalar context, but window functions are a separate expression type. And aggregate expressions are aggregate calls, or whatever they're called.
You can tell
are
based on the
separate.
invocation context, like if it's a scalar function call or a window function call, what you want to refer to. It doesn't make like processing.
Yeah. So I think that technically speaking, there's no ambiguity. I'm gonna let me stop there and see if people agree.
I
Well,
guess you could add processing to resolve the ambiguity based on where the call is invoked, but that is a bit tricky.
is that
Well,
really
I mean,
the
but
case,
you
though?
never. Hey, hold on a second. I'm trying to understand just like what processing example are you talking about, Victor? Because I kind of feel like if I'm dealing with a window function, I go to the window function registry to get the window function.
But you don't, because a window function, you can technically use aggregate functions in window contexts. So there's already some kind of like double lookup there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
the thing I'll say about this, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm only trying to. I'm not arguing for anything right now. I'm just trying to understand where ambiguities actually exist. And so it sounds like ambiguities exist in the context of a window function invocation versus an aggregate function being used in a window context. I think that may be the only ambiguity.
I think it's like the primary source of ambiguity, yes.
Sure.
Is there a compelling reason not to make them unique?
That's what I was going to say, Andrew. I don't think there
No,
is.
I was just trying to understand if there's ambiguity first. I wasn't.
Yep.
Like my initial thought was, yeah, let's just make them unique. That seems simple. But I just want to understand what the status was first.
It might even be the case that there's language somewhere in the docs that say they have to be unique. I meant to search it before this meeting, but I forgot to check. But there's definitely the language, at least, that they have to be unique. Maybe within just the particular namespace of scalar functions versus window functions versus aggregate functions. I'm just unsure about the globally.
Actually,
unique
technically
one.
speaking, in the spec, the uniqueness constraint is a function signature uniquely identifies a function implementation within a single YAML file. So there's no reference to like scalar or aggregate or window. So I guess that's kind of resolved. And if we do it, that seems easier than trying to reason about like different ways of doing it. And if someone had like, I want to have a scalar function the same as the name as the window function, that might also be like why are you? Those seem different. Those will be different.
Okay. So I guess answer then is yes. They have to be unique across all function types.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And this is one of those cases where like we could be more loosey-goosey and allow more interesting behavior, but I don't feel like there's any benefit to doing that. Cool. I mean, that's kind of it for the agenda up until this point. Something I want to follow up on, probably offline, is more the encoding for substrate tests for literals for user-defined types, but I need to reload that back into my brain after PTO.
I did also for the PR we discussed briefly last time, that was about verifying the interaction of any types with nullability handling. Jacques, you asked me to make everything one table, and it is now one table. So, yeah.
Is it better? Well, I was saying, would it be better? Is what I was saying. What do you think?
I think it is better. The thing is, either way, it's just like a massive dump of examples, which I don't think is bad, but I think it means people aren't going to read it until they need it, which is okay if people don't read it until they need it. But regardless, it's not exactly readable. I think it is more readable as one big table, but yeah.
Do you have a I apologize, I don't have the issue up. Do you have a comment column?
Yes.
One of the things that like where it's like, you know, it's just human language, which is like, hey, note that this is the thing that's happening here. Okay.
Yes, it says like this is why it doesn't match because blah 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 is going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think
also,
that'll probably be useful.
okay. Yeah, it's one of those ones where I think I might have the required reviews to get it in, but because it's messing with the type system a little bit, it just doesn't seem like a bad thing to get more eyes on it. But
I mean, I feel like you're clarifying behavior that's already ambiguous, and I suspect that as we go to implement more stuff, we'll find more weirdness in it. And if that's the case, we can fix it. I don't think we're going to be perfect to begin with, and I suspect that this is really only going to affect people who are at the bleeding edge of doing weird substrate stuff, which is
which is us, yeah. Because again, the context for this was that an incident did happen for us because of its ambiguity. Also, one other thing. The last time we had a meeting, we had a brief conversation about wouldn't it be nice if part of PRs was you could automatically generate a draft version of the website so people don't have to clone to see how the documentation looks. I did try and make Claude do that. I have a draft PR open that does that. I haven't opened it up yet.
700,000 lines of code.
It's not 700,000 lines of code, but it is doing some weird Git stuff in CI, which is why I was apprehensive to reveal it. But at least on this PR, it seems to work. So I'll try and tighten that up a little bit because I think it would be useful. It would just make reviewing these PRs much easier because, you know, who wants to pull a branch?
Yeah, it's
I mean, I've been doing a bunch of weird Git CI stuff in Substrate protobuf anyways for stuff like this. So
I think also there's a common pattern of error that I've noticed in the docs, which is that you think you're putting dashes to make a bulleted list, but for some reason it doesn't render as a bulleted list. And hopefully this would at least make it clear while reviewing, oh, hey, this is not rendering as a bulleted list. You need a new line or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did add a small item. I made a governance change. I think Youngchul and Ben, you both looked at it. It's actually pretty minor. It's one like CI changes in the core spec or just committer things. The bigger one is, and I think this is the correct assumption, is that we have the implicit assumption that PMCs implicitly vote for their own changes. As that list got bigger, it was kind of ambiguous as to like, okay, what counts as a self vote, what doesn't. The basic guideline I've done is if a thing requires one PMC vote to get through, it requires a different PMC than you. If it requires more than one PMC, you can be a PMC voting for that.
I mean, that's stricter than what I think the original intention was.
Like you want to allow self-review?
It's actually, if you haven't delved into this in the Apache world, it's a fascinating is probably not the right word. It's a pedantic conversation. Maybe that's a better word. There's a very strong perspectives on both sides. I don't have one, which is like review then commit or commit then review. Like the idea that like, you know, you pick committers because you trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You pick PMCs because you trust them. So if something requires one vote and you have a trusted person proposing it, like, yeah, they could vote for them. So that was the original intention. I'm not, but we don't have to be originalists. Right? Like that.
I have like one small thing. So, but
as long as it's not me. It can be yourself as long as it's not one of these people.
No,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm actually objecting to self-review. So I think like there's like one rule that every commit has to be reviewed by actually someone. if so
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like for
yeah
not
yeah.
just for subdoc, for compliance
So,
reasons.
so yeah, for the PMC, it requires one PMC. I'm authoring the PMC, so it clears that tick, but it has to get a review, like someone. It could be committer or probably committer, at least a committer. So that is something that I want to have it.
I think that's actually, so what I'll say is in practice, what it's been, because all the repos require at least one approval, and we don't permit self-reviews. That's implicitly for all
Okay.
like committer changes that require one vote. That's always been true.
Yeah.
The thing that basically in the docs, I guess, elucidated is that the only thing that requires a single PMC to look at is just documentation updates that are non-breaking, so formatting changes and moves. I think before that was ambiguous about whether you could self-review that. Now it's saying that no, you need to have at least one other person look at it, even if it's boring.
Mhm.
And then everything that's 2+ people, everything that requires 2+ votes requires at least one person to vote on GitHub anyway. So just standard in practice.
Okay.
I don't think we don't allow merging without approval anyways. So we don't distinguish between committer approvals and PMC approvals. And I don't know if I want to try and set that up. I could theoretically do it with code owners, but I'm not that. To your point, Jax, I'm okay with trusting people to be like, read the docs, and understand the process more or less. And
yeah, if we have a problem, let's fix it. But if we don't have a problem, let's not build a bunch of tools to fix it.
Yeah.
But yeah, on your comment, Young Chul, I think if you want to formalize that as a policy, you should definitely propose
it. Because like we are clearing it. Clarifying stuff or like more making it more official. But I don't know. But if it is already enforced by the system, then maybe it's fine. Hey, why I cannot like self whatever.
Actually, one thing that Ben did point out about it is that, strictly speaking, right now the website says, "Oh, any process or governance modification is like the voting location is the mailing list." But sometimes if we're doing stuff directly in GitHub, we're technically just voting on the Git PR, which I think is also reasonable. I don't feel strongly about voting location. Maybe we can change that language a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it would be good to just change it to like or GitHub when appropriate and just let that be ambiguous.
Yeah.
Because we could even do PMC votes on GitHub technically, right? Like it could just be a vote by approving the PR to just add someone to the list. So
I might even remove the concept of a voting location actually, and just be like, yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyways, cool.
Yeah.
No, that was just like a small thing. It sounds like I'm not changing practice. I'm not changing anything. I'm just clarifying what's kind of the existing practice, and we can clarify it even more if we want.
well, except that there is the sort of one clarification or the one possible change, which is just the allowing committers to merge directly to the core Substrate repo for dependency upgrades. I think that was part of this PR, right?
Yeah, the one thing I changed is that instead of requiring a PMC vote to do a dependency bump, if there's a dependency bump PR, you as a committer can approve it and merge it. Like you don't have to wait for a PMC to do that. And that's not spec related. I think that actually probably falls under the like non-spec change, but we've been calling a couple things out explicitly just to be like extra clear, like you're allowed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So is the repo,
if the dependency bump changes the spec, then we're in bigger problems.
is the repo set up in such a way now that committers can bypass the merge requirements of 2 votes then?
No, actually, Andrew, here's a question for you. On the GitHub UI, if you look at a PR that doesn't have enough votes, do you have like a checkbox that lets you bypass the merge requirement? Like, is there a bypass rule for you? I was trying to remember if this was enabled for only PMCs or not, but I didn't want to downgrade Ben or myself to check it.
I mean, the reason I'm asking is because if you allow committers to do dependency bumps, but they functionally can't do it without a PMC approving the PR and doing it themselves, then it's basically equivalent to the PMC approving dependency bumps.
Yeah. I need to figure that out, but
yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I have some questions on this, but not in the context of Substrate. So I'll wait until we're done. I want to ask people questions about this more general pattern, which is that there's kind of 2 things that GitHub Actions are used for. One is validation, and the other is mutation. And And it's clear that GitHub Actions were built for validation, not
Mhm.
for mutation.
What kind of mutation are you talking about in this context?
Well, like a dependency bump, right? Like a dependency
Hmm.
bump is the same thing as a Claude code modification, right? It's an agent deciding to make some changes to the code base.
I will make a distinction between the dependabot is deterministic.
Yeah, that's true.
Claude, I'm like, Claude might upgrade his dependency.
The
Okay,
input
you
is
can-
the changes are deterministic. The impact that the changes have are not deterministic. And then,
Because
like,
of the
one bump
dependence.
may be safe and another bump may be not safe, and you don't necessarily know that. But yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm not trying to argue that, whatever on that point, but I think of dependent bot as an example of this. There's lots of other examples of places where, anyway, I would love to,
Releases.
anyone who has 5 minutes to spend answering questions not related to Substrate afterwards. I'd love to just pick people's brain, but it's not really Substrate related.
I mean, I guess what I'll say, yeah, if there's no more substrate topics, we can
Well,
talk non-substrate things. Ben, you've got
Before we move
one
on,
more thing.
just we were asking Andrew if he can see that checkbox.
Oh, yes.
Let's just get the answer to that, and then I'll give it up.
Ben, why don't you share your screen and show the checkbox you're talking about?
Yeah, I
That's
can do
easiest
that.
way
Yeah,
for me to know
sure.
whether or not he sees it.
See, I'll
Give me
already-
1 second.
Cool. Here we
Hold
go.
on.
It would be
Oh,
this
you beat me
checkbox.
to it.
Work without requirements be met. Bypass rule. I can actually share the PR.
You see that little box, Andrew? Do you have that box?
Right, hang on. Yeah, I'm just bringing that up. So, or merge without waiting for requirements. No, I don't see that.
Okay, yeah, so that's the PMC only power. I don't remember exactly how I configured it, but yeah, if it becomes a problem for like the dependabot stuff, we can take a look at that. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. It makes it easier than trying to figure out which GitHub setting it is by turning it off and on and checking over and over. Yeah, otherwise we can go more off topic. I guess, do you want to
Yes.
record the off topic or?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Probably not. I mean, that's it's very unrelated to Substrate, other than the fact that it happens to be very related to the topic that we were just talking about.
Okay, I think I'll say one more Substrate related thing to that, and then I'll off. We have another example of a mutation in a GitHub action, which I actually think is a good pattern in the spec or in the project, which is releases only via GitHub actions, where like I as an individual cannot release a version of the spec. The CI is the only thing allowed to do that. So I've been trying to move away from anything with like local keys that like runs releases for us. And, like that pattern I like. In Substrate Protobuf, for example, the way that the artifact releases work is that you trigger a GitHub action and you can trigger it and you tell it the version, but it runs the machinery. It's like, okay, cool. You want to try and release this version. I'll check to see if it's released. If it's already released, I won't do anything. If something's missing, I'll release that thing for you. But like, it separates the like anyone can trigger a release, but it's only pushed by the machinery, so no one has access to it. Yeah, that's a useful mutation pattern. But yeah, if there's no more Substrate specific stuff, I'll take us off the recording so we can have very exciting, spicy conversations about CI, I guess.